In this video, Mark Ford shares part 4 of the 5 tenets of a fast growth advisory business.
And 4 is expansion. And that's really all about scaling what works and firing what doesn't. So, right, you want to move away from the business as usual methods, such as cold calling, networking, postcards, lifestyle events, writing books, and so on. Really, the goal is to find what works and get rid of the rest, the stuff that doesn't work, the stuff that is largely inefficient. And I've taken a lot of the guesswork out of that process and found one thing that you can scale. Reality is the left should be, left by the wayside. So if anybody who's seen this movie, the movie Moneyball, really provides a great model for this. Like Oakland A's GM Billy Beane, as the story goes, was faced with a really tough decision of trying to compete with big budget teams like the Yankees, Blaise Perone. He's a big Yankees fan. Despite playing in a small market with a limited payroll. And instead of focusing on the tried and true methods, which required spending a fortune on big bats and arms, Bean changed the rules and really discovered the numbers that actually mattered. And this allowed small budget teams to compete with the big boys and win. And the way successful teams are managed and built is really changed forever. And so, right, most people try to just throw a bunch of things against the wall and see what sticks when it comes to marketing. And the problem this creates really has more to do with math than cooking spaghetti. And like many financial professionals create this problem with their marketing. And the result is simply too many variables and not enough constants. I'll give you an example. Like if you were to say, hey, I'm going to start doing some video and try to use video to attract my clients. I'm going to post that on Facebook. I'm going to post that on LinkedIn, maybe do some Twitter. Each of those channels represents an individual and different variable. Those audiences in each of those channels are completely different, right? And so addressing those channels needs to be done on a one-by-one basis. And rather than trying to solve like 3 equations simultaneously and not having enough constants, right? You actually want to simplify the whole equation. So it becomes something quite easy to solve. And that really is the solution. Simplify. Right? 1 plus x equals 3. Solve for x. And like lots of people think that if you get a funnel or spend some money on Facebook ads, that you've got a formula for getting clients. The truth is that most of these people just have a formula for burning money. And so if the solution is simplification, where should a financial services professional start? And for many, this is where you should start. You should start with direct outreach, organic methods. And the reason is because you can do a lot of preliminary testing without spending a dime on paid advertising. Paid advertising is a really powerful tool, but it's really only powerful when you're ready to scale. And so if the goal is ultimately scaling, how do you get to scale? Well, you have to go through some testing and some iteration to figure out the right message to a target market. And once that's tested, then you can scale. But you got to do the right things in the right order. And so here's a client who, we worked with and pretty much right out of the gate started generating appointments. And he had tried direct outreach before on LinkedIn, but we helped him to really tighten down that process and use some more powerful strategy to help him to actually get results. And the reality is that you don't need an ad budget to start really tapping the power of social networks. And if you don't have $1,000 a month to spend on ads, don't start there. And reality is that it's often not the best place to start anyways. And it's great to get qualified appointments on the calendar with 0 ad spend. This really is a good thing. Our client Eric, right, he had tried in the past to get LinkedIn to work, but now he has it working. And once you have a message to a target market, once you have that working, like leveraging paid ads, like that gives you a lot of scale, and it does so very quickly. So that's a good question, Dylan. I'd be happy to answer I'll be happy to answer that one at the end of the presentation. But the short answer is both. So when to scale? So once you have a proven message with a target market, once that is a fit and a match, then you can scale using inbound paid marketing. But you also have to know your numbers, right? And so you have to know how much it costs to generate a click. You have to know how much it costs to generate a lead and how much it costs to generate a call or an appointment request. And then ultimately, you have to track and know how many appointments does it take to generate a new client. And so you want to run this whole system by the numbers, whether you're doing organic outreach and direct outreach, or whether you're doing paid outreach. You have to know the numbers in the business. And so one of our clients, Eric and Beth Sweeney of Sweeney Wealth Management, they wanted to double their 7-figure business, and they wanted to do it in 2 years while still having time for travel, vacations, family, and golf. And they used, the old methods, networking, lifestyle events, relying on referrals, but that was not ever going to get them to, doubling their business in 2 years. Reality is for them, growth was slow and they wanted to go fast. And now they're shifting budgets and scaling. And they're averaging about $300,000 in new AUM for about every $450 that they spend. And they're on track to smash their 2-year goal of adding an additional $100 million in new AUM. Pretty cool. Another client, 4x their revenue in 3 months using our process. And they're using seminars. And they focus on the retiree market. And we help them to implement a seminar system to basically put butts in seats without driving people to dinner and paying for dinner and things like that, educational workshops. And in the last 30 days, they closed over $3.5 million in premium and an additional $2.5 million in AUM using our live seminar system training. Last quarter, they closed over $8 million in premium, and they're scaling fast, generating live seminar attendees and appointments for a fraction of the cost of other online methods that they tried in the past. And I think what's really powerful about one of the things that we help them with, and I'm totally going, this isn't like on script or anything like that, but when we worked with them, what was really, really cool that helped to increase results, lower their cost of acquiring a client, was we looked at the numbers in their business and we analyzed who their buyers were. Historically, all their marketing was focused on people that were 54, 55 to 65 plus. When we looked at the data of where 80%, 90% of their clients were in terms of demographics, most of them were 59 and older. And so just that observation, we were able to help them to save a ton of money in their marketing spend just by focusing their marketing efforts on the buyers and not the people who were just out there to gather up information. That helped them to reduce their ad spend, but it also increased their conversion numbers because the people that were showing up, well, they were the buyers, not the information gatherers. And so really, again, this goes back to like knowing the numbers. And this is just the seminar system that we designed, that they have implemented and other clients have implemented too, is quite simple, right? Simply 3 pages. But again, you have to know the numbers to make the system work.
If you would like to learn more about Castor Abbott or watch a free training video that explains how we've helped over 300 financial advisors and counting, click the first link in the description.